speaking of your new artist, you guys also did an EP celebrating these 30 years, right? And you had some newer artists doing some covers of some legacy bands, right?
Yeah, we thought that'd be fun to do this sort of cover series, and we have a song coming out every week this summer, and then we're gonna have vinyl at the end of the year. But it's the newer artists covering like hopeless classic songs, including Unholy Confessions.
Yeah, I got to listen to that. I thought it was a good cover there. Was it North Point? Is the
Point North.
Point North. Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry guys. But yeah, Point North.
Yep.
They did a great cover of that. What did you think? So I had a question on that. We'll just break that down real quick. North Point. Did you guys collectively as a label seek out the artists on the roster and say, hey, I think they would be a good band to cover this song from one of the other bands from Hopeless, whether it be Used or All Time Low or anything like that? Was that how it went, or were these bands you just said, hey, we're going to be doing this, and then they submitted their ideas of what they would be able to do?
Yeah, so we said, here's our idea, and here's a list of sort of the top 100 tracks, but do whatever you want. You could pick something on this list or not on this list, but this is just to get you thinking about it. And so, yeah, they had full control of what song they did. And so, one did like a song that's like 2 years old. So it's not like everyone picked something deep in the catalog.
Oh, cool. So you just like sent out a thing and said, we're doing this to all your bands that were on the roster. Here's some stuff. If you guys feel like you want to record it, let's go. And then North Point obviously chose Unholy.
Yep. No one chose the song Hopeless. I was hoping someone would pick the song that named the label, but they didn't. No one picked the song Hopeless. So still open. Avenged can do it.
Oh, well, yeah, you want a legacy act to come in and do that. We can work something out.
So yeah, that was a Guttermouth song from the first 7-inch.
Yeah, that's right. And was Guttermouth the first band that you signed then?
It wasn't even a signing. It was just a 7-inch record. I was directing a music video for them while in film school, and they got intoxicated and said, we dare you to put out a record for us. And I never had any experience putting out a record, so I went and bought a book called How to Run an Independent Record Label. Called Fat Mike because he's the only one I knew with a record label, and said, how do you do this? And put out that 7-inch. And the only reason the label is called Hopeless is because in the book it said you had to have a label, and the first song on the 7-inch was called Hopeless. And it was recorded by Donald Cameron, who recorded Avenged's first record.
Donald, yeah, that was the sounding that they did down on what is that?
West Beach.
West Beach, yep. Yeah, on Sunset, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I was not there for that. That was the demo.
Pre-you. It was pre-you. I remember, and Donald called me, and he's like, "I've got this band. You got to hear it."
That was after, if I remember correctly, we had a label signing with a label in Belgium before that Matt had cultivated through literally snail mail, just going back and forth, knowing nothing about this label.
Yep.
being kids, being 18, 19 years old, and being like, oh, they said they'd sign us, we'll just sign it. And it was a terrible idea, and then luckily later on you would come in and re-sign it. So you, correct me if I'm wrong, you might remember this better because as we said, this is kind of pre-me.
Yeah.
How did you, aside from Donald sending you hey, said, we got this band and we're recording them right now, you got to hear it.
Yeah.
So you hear it, you do the thing, you meet the guys. I'm not there yet. So talk to me a little bit about the initial meeting and signing of Avenged Sevenfold.
Yeah. So it's a long time ago, so a lot of it blurs together, but I clearly remember going out to Goleta, just north of Santa Barbara. I think it was the Living Room, seeing the guys, then going to a Mexican restaurant in Santa Barbara, hanging out, talking about it. They told me about the Good Life thing. That's the Belgian label.
Good Life, that's right. Yeah. I was gonna say I knew it was Good something. It's been so many years, but
so they're like, yeah, we're on Good Life, this Belgian label. Okay. And they're like, oh, but it's a one-page deal. Don't worry about it. I'm like, we got to do things the right way. So I eventually reached out to Edward at Good Life and worked out a deal with him. So it was all on the up and up. And actually, I still talk to Edward, and he still gets paid every 6 months because he has an override on a couple of records. Yep. Then I remember going to a show in Oxnard or Ventura. It was like a youth center that the guys played, and I just started going to all the shows and hanging out and, you know, meeting Matt's family and Val and, you know, like the whole gang, and decided we wanted to work together. And yeah, I had to work out that deal with Good Life. And then it was time to make a new record, and that's when you got involved. I clearly remember sitting in the parking lot of Chain Reaction in a van. I think it was your guys' van or Matt's van, and listening to the demos and going, holy shit, this is like not even just next level, but 10 levels up from sounding the seventh trumpet. So it's a clear memory, and those demos are actually out now. They're on the Waking the Fallen Resurrected, which was the expanded version.
Yeah, which we did. How long ago did we do that? Was that for 25? What was that for? Was that for 20?
It was maybe 15 or 20.
15?
Yeah,
No, because it's just now.
Yeah.
It just did 20. It just did 20 years last year.
Right. So it must have been 10.
Must have been 10 we did Resurrected for.
Yeah. I remember actually how that idea came about was I ran into Matt at the Troubadour, and one of the anniversaries was coming up. I'm like, oh, we should think about doing an anniversary for Waking the Fallen. We've got all those demos that I listened to in your van, and we've got all this extra artwork and stuff. And so that came about like as an informal conversation at the Troubadour.
Right. That sounds about right. That's interesting though, because you know, Waking the Fallen was the first record I was on. We were doing I remember what you're talking about when we did Chain. I was like, we hadn't done Chain in a minute. We were going back, and it was kind of us getting ready to do that Warped Tour that summer, where we would then be. I remember you guys had printed out the singles before Waking the Fallen came out with Unholy and Eternal Rest on it.
Yep.
And we were on Warped Tour. We'd play our half-hour set, and then we'd go walk around with those CDs, just slinging them to everybody we could, just handing them out before the record came out. And it was good times. And I remember before that album came out, we actually had a meeting just down here. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you remember this, maybe you don't. I think we went to the Long Beach Marina where the sailboats are by the yacht club, and went to like eat at Joe's Crab Shack, I believe.
Okay, yeah, that sounds right.
And then we were talking about we had the record pretty much done. We were ready to go with it. This is before that Warped Tour. And again, I'm super green at this time. I think I'd met you maybe 2 or 3 times before that dinner.
Yeah.
Just at random shows like Chain Reaction, like you had mentioned. And I was just like, okay, this is my first record dinner, I'll say. Right. Business dinner. I was like, oh no.
That's just not like those ones you see on TV.
No, it was definitely not. It was not. You know, we sat like anybody would at a dinner table with the 6 or 7 of us.
Yeah.
Had some crab and some drinks and got some business done.
Yeah. Well, that's how it is in the indie world. We're all part of the same family. We work together. We're a team. This isn't some, corporate thing where we're just feeding stuff to...
You're not just looking at the numbers.
We're not just looking at the numbers. need numbers to survive, but that's...
Of course, that's why I said just.
Yeah, that's an indirect thing. I'm trying to think if you were did you play the Coconut Teaser show? That show sticks out in my mind. That was the first time I think that you guys played a song from Waking the Fallen, which I think was Second Heartbeat. That was the first song. Was the first song written on the record?
That was the first song written on the record, and actually I wasn't there for that. That was still with Damien Ash.
Okay. Yeah.
If you guys remember, Second Heartbeat was written and recorded for EP that you guys, a Hopeless EP that you guys were putting out.
Right.
And we re-recorded it when we went in to do Waking.
Right.
They had just started playing it for, I don't know, about 6 months before I joined the band, because that EP came out like about 6 months before I joined the band. They had been playing it, and then and we went and re-recorded.
Oh yeah, you missed the Coconut Teaser show. That was a classic.
Tell me about the Coconut Teaser show.
There might have been 20 people.
Why don't I know? I mean, I hear all the stories, of course. These are my brothers. All the stories of the 3 years before I joined the band, and that's those things are always interesting. I don't remember hearing the coconut.
Yeah, there was about 20 people there.
Sounds about right.
Yep. And then we went to some place, I think it's still there, that has a mechanical bull afterwards. I remember that. And yeah, your bandmates like mechanical bulls, if you didn't know that. So that was a good one. And then I think you were there for punk rock bowling. We all went to Vegas to punk rock bowling.
I was, but I was not old enough
Right.
to get in. So
You were waiting outside?
I was waiting outside. I believe we were like on tour, and we stopped the band in Vegas for that at a time, and the guys got to go in, and I was super bummed because I couldn't. And of course, it was punk rock bowling. I grew up, a little backstory on me that I don't know if we've really talked about, but I grew up listening to all those bands that, you know, Fat Mike, of course, and everything. Just like the rest of the guys in my band, you know.
Yeah.
We grew up on all these punk rock, so like I'm an 18-year-old kid, and they're like, oh, it's punk rock bowling with all of my heroes.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, cool. And they show up, they're like, you can't get in. They're like, fucking cool.
Oh, that's crazy. I didn't realize that. Yeah, because that was the year, it was the only year we got a trophy, because Matt bowled with us, and he's a very good bowler.
He's just, the funny thing is he's not a good bowler. He's just he's just a freak athlete.
Right. So he's better than all the other drunk punk people. So.
Graded on the curve, he's amazing.
Right.
He's fucking
so
kingpin out there.
So we came in second. That was the only year we got a trophy because Matt was bowling with us. And then I have a vivid memory. This is one of my favorite Jimmy memories. We're going to this super fancy steakhouse, and he has a trench coat with maybe 12 Budweisers in every pocket of that.
It wasn't even pockets. Remember, he had slid out the lining of the trench coat and can drop them in there. That was the reason why he had such a big trench coat, so he could fill it up. He would put 30 packs in there. If you saw it with 12, that's because he was already 16 deep. Or I think I did the math like that. No, I did not do it very fast. Anyways, whatever that math is. But I remember that because I would wear that trench coat when we go into movie theaters and fill it up with beer.
Okay. So,
but yeah, go ahead.
So at least my memory is accurate that he did have that.
Oh, he had that trench coat full of beers. That's absolutely true.
So yeah, I was so nervous we were going to get kicked out of the steakhouse, but I don't know. I think they were used to eccentric people there in Vegas.